Pesachim Daf Chavav, two emails from two individuals from Borough Park. Rabbi, this is from Yisrael Goldstein. I want to thank you and applaud you for the divrei chizuk you gave us yesterday when you explained the concept of trading one's time and life for money. I've heard from numerous about the Rashad, many speeches. Blah, blah, blah. It's not as great as you said yesterday. I've come to realize that you're not only a Daf Yomi Magajir, but you're also give us a drach in the day-to-day life. Thank you very much from your true and daily Talmud. And from Yossi from Borough Park, I really enjoy your shiurim, the visuals, humor, and whatnot. It's the best kishmak shir for Daf Yomi. You hear Rabbi say? And since Pesachim, I listen to you every day. However, the last 2 days I was really upset, since on the Torah Anytime recording, it only started with the sponsors, and I missed the Good Morning Rabbi Sai. Hatzlach, and thank you for the wonderful shiurim. Yossi from Borough Park. So we're in the middle of a sugya, efshar v'loy mechaven, loy efshar v'mechaven. A little bit confusing, but the Gemara is focusing on efshar and mechaven. In other words, there are two routes to get to one place. One route has a great smell of avodah zarah. You can take the other route. That's called efshar. Efshar means that the second route is inconvenient. So we're talking about where it's inconvenient. So it's efshar. And you have kavana as you're walking by the avodah zarah. It smells great. You like it. You enjoy it. benefit from it. Abaye says in that case, mutter. The Gemara brings a great right to Abaye. Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai, when he was teaching his Talmidim, he had so many Talmidim, he had nowhere to put them. Now he could go build a tent, but that's very expensive, it's inconvenient. So he brought them to the shade of the Heichal, of the Beis HaMikdash, 100 amma tall, 200 feet tall. They casted a great shadow, and he put them there. Isn't that Me'ilah? You're benefiting. It's Efshar, he doesn't have another choice, but he has Kavanah, he wants the shade of the Beis HaMikdash. Great raya to Abaya. That's mutter. Rava will say, it's not such a great raya. It's not Me'ilah, because the wall of the Heichal was created to protect the inside of the Heichal, the menorah, the shulchan, not to cast a shadow. There's a great raya to Rava that says Efshar, in a case where there's no other route, and you have kavanah to benefit, it's also according to Rava. Why? Says Rava, look, in the Beis HaMikdash, in the Kodesh HaKadoshim, if the Kohen Gadol noticed that there's a need for a repair, they would lower a repairman into the Kodesh HaKadoshim through a box, so you shouldn't see what's going on in the Kodesh HaKadoshim, benefit visually, and be mile. That's a case of Efshar. You must repair the Beis HaMikdash. Yet, if he has kavanah, it's also great raya to Rava. Says Abaye, no. You know, when it comes to sight, which is not tangible, smell, or the sound, to hear the instruments of the Beis HaMikdash, there's no Me'ilah. So why did they lower him in a box? Special churma they did for Kodesh HaKadoshim. Another lashon is, we start from the other side, that if it's impossible or it's inconvenient to go the other route, and you have kavanah to enjoy and benefit from the isser, asur. Why? Because sound, vision, and smell, there's no Me'ilah, but there is a isser. You see, there's an isser. In other words, there's an isser for the people in the Beis HaMikdash l'chayra. Says the Gemara, no. That halacha is talking about people outside of the Beis HaMikdash, and they have efshar. They could just move away. So therefore, it's also for them. The people in the Beis HaMikdash, in fact, would be mutter. Rav Papa says, let's make a distinction here. When it comes to sound, and when it comes to smell, sound and smell are two different things. Sound and vision are not tangible, but smell is tangible. Why? Because the smell comes from ketairas, the samamonim, the different spices, those are tangible. And Memela, that does in fact have Me'ilah, but once the smoke goes up and the mitzvah is over, there's no Me'ilah any longer. Now there's a halacha, that if a person makes ketairas for himself, for his own benefit, in order to smell, he doesn't even have to smell it, he's chayiv kares. But if he makes it to practice, or he makes it for the Beis HaMikdash, he's potter. We just mentioned that once the mitzvah is over, he's not over Me'ilah. But Trumas Hadeshen, that's the first mitzvah every morning in the Beis HaMikdash, the Kohen goes up to the Mizbeach, grabs a shovel full of ashes, brings it down to the eastern part of the Mizbeach, puts it on the marble floor, it gets swallowed up with a nace. Those ashes, there's an Isser Me'ilah, even though the mitzvah was over. The answer is, because those ashes and the clothing of the Kohen Gadol Yom Kippur, there's also an Isser to be Me'il after the mitzvah is done. And since you have two things, you can't learn anything else from them. According to the Mandama that says that those clothing you could benefit from afterwards, you just can't use it the following Yom Kippur, but you can use it for a Kohen Hedyot. So there's another pasuk. Egla Arufa, that's the calf that you decapitate if you find the body between two cities, you don't know which city. After the mitzvah is done, there's an Isser Me'ilah. So Shnei Ksuma Bayim Ke'echad. The Gemara tells us that we have a raya from an unbelievable case. You have an Egla Arufa, and the Egla Arufa is similar to Paraduma. You can't do any work with the Egla Arufa. Yet, What happens if the baby needs to nurse from its mother and the mother is busy working threshing the wheat? You're allowed to attach the baby to the mother, let it walk around in a circle with the mother, and meanwhile nurse. What about the fact that the baby is creating work and you're not allowed to work it? The owner doesn't have kavana, but if he has kavana, it's aser. So you see, efshar umechaven is aser. Says the Gemara, that's because there's a special pasuk asher lo yubad ba. You can't do any work with it. And if you don't have kavana at all, that's not considered work. We see this from para aduma. Para aduma and egla rufa are very similar. There's a gzeir shar between the two. Para aduma, if a bird lands on it, that doesn't ruin the para aduma. But if it mates with a zachar, that ruins the para aduma. You should look in Taisus. There's a beautiful, beautiful kasha and teretz from Taisus on this Gemara. There's a great raya the Gemara says for Rava. If a person finds a beged, clothing, he's chay b'ashavas aveda. He needs to take care of it. He doesn't want it. He doesn't want the moths to come and destroy the beged. So he puts it out. He lays it out on his bed. Lays it out on a peg. However, if he has guests and the guests are going to think, "Oh, look at this guy. He has these beautiful begadim." He's not allowed to put it out. So you see, like Rava, efshar and mechaven, he has kavana to benefit, to show them how great he is. He has all these clothing. Is aser. Abai is going to say the reason why it's aser is for a different reason. The reason why it's aser is because we're concerned for ayin hara. The guests are going to come, they're going to ruin the clothes with the ayin hara, or they might steal the clothing. If we have a tanner, an oven, and for the very first time you put in the shells of arla. Shells of arla are asabana. And you warmed up the oven. In other words, you finished off the oven. The makib of the oven was with the arla asabana. You must break the oven. But if it's an older oven, all you need to do is let it cool off. Don't cook with it. If you baked a bread in the oven with the heat of arla asabana, according to Rebbe, the bread is aser. According to Chachamim, it's mutter. What about the braisha that says that if you have a brand new oven and you finish it off with arla, you just have to let it cool off. You don't have to break it. Don't say that it goes according to Rebbe. Rebbe that says that if you bake bread, it's aser, so the oven is also aser. Bread is different. Why? Bread, says the Gemara, tremendous chiddush, there's shvach eitzim. You see, you could tell that you used the wood that's aser in the bread. How else did the bread bake? With the fuel. The fuel is aser. But when it comes to an oven, there are two things going on here. There's the oven and the fuel. That's called zev v'zeh goyim. Two things cause the heat. And zev v'zeh goyim, Rebbe holds its mutter. So we must say it goes according to Rabbi Eliezer that says zev v'zeh goyim aser, and we'll continue the sugi beis Hashem tomorrow. Have a wonderful day.